You are listening to episode number 96 of the Everything Ham Radio podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the School Club Roundup that's coming up pretty soon, some news about the Hamvention this year, and some other things. So stick around, y'all. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Everything Ham Radio podcast. My name is Curtis, my call sign is Kilo 5 Charlie Lima Mike, and I am your solo host for this episode. Last week we had Ian Kahn on, and I think it's probably going to start being at least a semi-regular thing, but this time it's just me. And kind of due to poor planning and not really realizing that I haven't made a podcast episode for this week, until about 6 p.m. on Wednesday, which is the night before this release. Actually, it's like 4 p.m. So I had 12 hours to come up with, figure out what I was going to talk about, record, edit, put it up on the website, and get ready to launch. And that didn't leave me very much time. So, but anyways, so here it is, 1 a.m. on the 1st, the day this thing goes live. It goes live in like 3 hours, so I have my work cut out for me. So, but anyways, it's just me today. It's probably not going to be as long as normal, and it might be just as maybe a little bit more boring than usual too, since it is just me. But it is just me due to the time constraints and poor planning and all that good stuff, all that bad stuff, whatever it is. Anyways, today we're talking about the School Club Roundup that's coming up here pretty soon, within the next couple weeks. I got some new information about Hamvention, and I have some emails that I want to tell y'all about that y'all, my listeners, have sent in. And we'll kind of go from there. Maybe we got a couple other things I'm not sure yet. But anyways, before we go any further, you can find the show notes of today's episode with all the information that we talk about, with additional links and some other things in the show notes of today's episode. And you can find that at everythinghamradio.com/podcast/96. It's hard to believe that I'm already up episode 96. You know, I figured it up, and because of the one episode that I was sick, the first of the month, or the first of last month, I guess now, in January, I'm actually going to be episode 100, the last episode of March, because I got this episode is 96. I'll have 97 later in this month, and then there's 3 episodes that'll be in March. So the last episode in March will be the 100th episode. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. I want to do something exciting. I really do. So I guess I really need to start working on that. But anyways, if y'all have any kind of ideas of what could be really super fun and exciting, maybe I'll do like a live stream. I wonder if I could do that. I don't know though, it'd be kind of hard to do it like 4 o'clock in the morning. Maybe I'll do it like Thursday. I don't even know if I work. I might work that day, and that might just, really throw a monkey wrench in it. But anyways, that's what's going on. As far as where you can find me, of course you can find the website at everythinghamradio.com. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/everythinghamradio. That's the page. The group, which is more of a laid back, easier to talk about, get conversations going and stuff like that, is at facebook.com/groups/everythinghamradio. I'm on YouTube, which I'm thinking of getting some other type of things this year. That is one of my goals for this year, is to get some kind of video stuff up on YouTube. I hadn't really quite decided what I'm going to do exactly with that. If I'm going to do it with this podcast, or if I'm going to do it with something else, with my business that I'm starting. That's kind of what I'm thinking about doing, is doing something along with that, with woodworking and stuff. And I think I'll tell you all kind of an update that I got with that too here a little bit later. But anyways, YouTube is at youtube.com/everythinghamradio. And you can also find me on Twitter, which is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. And that's at twitter.com/K5CLM, or just K5CLM, at K5CLM. Yeah, you can get me that way too. So anyways, now that that's done, what are we talking about? So first thing that I wanted to mention, I had a bunch of people email me about some things that was said on last episode, episode number 95. In that episode, we talked about the stuff that's going on with the ARRL board, with some proposals that were being brought forth for them to vote on, and how it caused such an uproar. Well, I made a mistake, and that's probably due to maybe a little poor planning. Honestly, guys, I don't know what has been going on with me this year. I've got so many irons in the fire that I think something is lacking. Something is being left out, and unfortunately, here lately it's been this podcast, which, in all honesty, is probably the lowest on the totem pole of things that I have to do. So it's the one that's being neglected. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. So, but anyways, the mistake that I made was that I said that the president and the 3 vice presidents were paid employees of the ARRL. Now, in case you didn't hear last episode, what was said was that one of the motions was that the president and the 3 vice presidents were going to be allowed to have a vote in anything that was brought forth to the board. And I guess I must have misread something somewhere or something like that. And I guess I understood that they were paid employees of the ARRL. Well, they're not. They're actually, the president and 3 vice presidents are actually appointed positions. They are, from what I understand now, they are board members that are appointed to those positions, and when they are appointed to those positions, they lose their vote. So there's 15, and I don't remember saying anything about this, but one person said that I missaid how many districts there was, but there's 15 districts evidently, and there's 12 board members, and then the president and the 3 vice presidents. So it came up to like 15, I guess. That's, math doesn't add up. But anyways, so they're not paid. They're directors, and they don't have a vote when they take those positions. Which, if that's correct, which 3 or 4 of y'all have told me that is correct, that they are not paid, it kind of begs the question is why they don't have a vote. Maybe somebody that's listening can send me an email and explain to me a little bit better. I kind of wish I could have maybe planned this a little better and brought somebody on to talk about it, to maybe kind of get some stuff out of the fog of me. But maybe I probably should have done that last episode, and I dropped the ball on there again. Being neglected. Anyways, that's the correction. And honestly, I haven't really looked forth to see what the results were of that. I think there were some of them that were totally taken out, and honestly, I might not be able to. Anyways, at least for a little bit. I think they did vote to make it where the minutes could be obtained once they're approved by the board. And how they're approved by the board, I'm not sure, how long that takes. I know normally when it comes to boards, it's like the next meeting they approve the previous meeting's minutes and they move on, and then it becomes public record. But since the board doesn't meet, but I think twice a year, they might do it, maybe by email or something. I don't know. So, but anyways, that's that. And I'm sure I probably made other mistakes. I like I said in that episode, and like Ian said, we're not really up on politics, on the amateur radio politics of the ARRL. We probably should be, as ham radios and operators, and that the ARRL is, our voice in the government or whatever. But I'm not. I got other stuff I got to take care of. So, but anyways, excuse me for the sniffles. I got a case of the sniffles for some reason. I sneezed a little bit ago, and I don't have anything to get rid of them with. But anyways, okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about in today's episode is the School Club Roundup. West Mountain Radio has recently released their third generation power gate, the Epic Power Gate. It uses advanced technology to achieve a very low, 0.05 volts to be exact, power loss, and has a maximum flexibility to charge modern batteries. It features a solid and durable construction in an aluminum case, and includes mounting holes for convenient and secure use in mobile units. It uses Anderson power pole connectors that are standard on all West Mountain Radio products. The Epic Power Gate is a 12-volt backup power system rated at 40 amps continuous from either a power supply or a battery. Any equipment that is connected through it will instantly switch to battery during a loss of power. Not only does the Epic Power Gate act as a backup power switch, it also has a battery charge controller, so your batteries will remain charged when hooked up to a power source. The Epic Power Gate can charge all chemistries of batteries and supports a smart charging program for lead acid and lithium ion batteries charging up to 10 amps. As an added bonus to this iteration of the Power Gate line, the Epic Power Gate also has a solar charge controller. If you would like to know more about the Epic Power Gate or any other item that West Mountain Radio has, go to everythinghamradio.com/WMR and make sure you get your free USB port monitor with your purchase. So the School Club Roundup is actually a multi-time event, and it's sponsored by the ARRL. And the first part of this year is coming up pretty soon. It's coming up on the 12th through the 16th of February, so it's right around the corner. 12 days away is when this thing starts. Then they also have a fall term of it, which is back in October. So it's going to be a little bit for the second one, or I guess maybe the first one, since it goes school years. But anyways, what this is it's basically I really don't say contest, but maybe like a special event would be more of a thing, kind of a special event mixed with a contest, I guess maybe. Anyways, it's made for school clubs, elementary, middle, junior high, intermediate, high school, college, all those type clubs that can have a special event for themselves. But it's not limited to just school clubs. You can have non-school clubs participate. You can have individuals participate, and so on. But the objective of it is to exchange QSO information with the club stations that are part of an elementary, middle, high school, or college schools. Non-school clubs and individuals are encouraged to participate, but I guess maybe they don't get the points and stuff like that. They can't really put their logs in and participate in it. But the clubs, the school clubs, get points, I think, for the contact. So if you're around on February the 12th through the 16th, listen for those school clubs and talk to the kids. It's one way. We talk about how ham radio is a dying hobby. I hear that a lot. Ham radio is a dying hobby. We have to figure out some way to get new young blood in the hobby. And in some ways I agree with that. In some ways, yes, the amateur radio operators have been, there is a older generation, I guess you could say, of ham radio operators that are getting older and unfortunately becoming silent keys, and there's not as much younger generation coming in, but on that flip side of that, there is too. It might not be the younger generations, like the teenagers and stuff like that, but there is some younger blood coming in, in the 20s and so. In my area, there's really not a whole lot of that. I've been a ham now for like 20 years or so, and I've been a VE for most of that, and I've probably helped administer tests and given, help new people become ham radio operators probably, better than 100 times under my belt. So there is people out there that are taking their test, and I know there's, a whole lot more out there that do this. I know Dan Romanchik posted on his blog a couple days ago that he gave one of his one day ham cram type classes, and I think he had like 17 people pass the test. So I mean, there's new hams coming in all the time, and so it really all depends maybe on where you live and how active the hobby is in your area as to how much new young blood is coming in. Now when I became a ham 20 years ago, I was like 15. I think I was 15 years old or so, 15 maybe 16 years old, and at that time there was a bunch of us that were right around that age range that got their license. And unfortunately, there's maybe 10 of us out of like 25 that are still active in the hobby. And I say that, for me, active in the hobby very loosely, because this is pretty much the gist of my ham radio experience right now is doing this podcast and the blog. I have the radios. I have the antenna put up. I don't really get on them very much because it doesn't really work for me. I don't know if it's my radio or my antenna, and y'all know this. Y'all have heard this. I have one in my car, and I have it on when I drive back and forth to work, and I try to talk to somebody, but there's unfortunately not a whole lot of people on sometimes when I drive. It's like midnight when I come home, so there's not a whole lot of people on, unfortunately for me. But anyways, I'm way off topic here. So as far as multipliers go for the School Club Roundup, a station can only count for a single multiplier as described in Rule 5. And it says this. I'm reading here. I'm not reading the actual rules, so you will have to go and read them yourself. But anyways, it says, for example, a contact may count for a school or a club, but not both. A school club counts as a school only. Contact submitted claiming both multipliers will be scored accordingly to the log submitted by the station contacted. So if you're a school club, you'll be counted as a school. If you're a non-school club, then it would be counted as a club. And unfortunately, again, I didn't have the rules. I didn't go further in because I ran out of time, honestly. So check out the ARRL website as far as this, and there will be links in the show notes as well to that information as far as the full rules go. One of the things they are asking for is to post a picture of your event and stories about it. One of the best parts about the School Club Roundup is showing off your team members and station. Other participants will enjoy hearing about how you did and read your story of your contest. And you can upload pictures and text via the ARRL Soapbox website, which there is a link in the show notes of today's episode. There are some new rules that are being changed. I don't know if this is a typo here yet, or a typo here, y'all, or not. But the ARRL website says new rules implemented 2016. So I'm guessing they're probably an old one. It just says make sure you update your logging software because of new rules. Contacts on digital modes such as RTTY and PSK31 now count separately than CW. Modes must be abbreviated in the Cabrillo formatted log as PHCW or RY. The number of contacts allowed per station has been changed to once per band per mode. One will now be able to make up to 3 contacts with the station with each band using CW, voice, and digital modes. Multipliers will still only count once. A minor change in the minimum break time may give school operations some additional operating time. The minimum break time is reduced from 30 minutes to 10 minutes. This may be helpful in schools where operations is interrupted by the changing of classes. And the full results write-up for the October 2016 and the February 2017 contests are available in the October 2017 QST. So I'm guessing that they have not updated their write-up on their website. Unfortunately, that's just kind of bad. So it's making me look bad here, y'all, and that's not good. Of course, I didn't really read over this, and that's my bad. So, anyways, again, the School Club Roundup is coming up fast, February the 12th through the 16th of this year. And check the show notes for links for more information.
Hi, this is Dan, KB6NU, author of the No Nonsense Amateur Radio License Study Guides. My study guides have helped thousands get their license or upgrade to general class or extra class, and they can help you too. What makes them unique is my no-nonsense style. I don't bamboozle you with a lot of text. Instead, I give you just what you need to know in a simple, straightforward way that's designed to help you pass the test. One reader even told me, your study guide explained in a couple of paragraphs topics that the license manual needed a couple of pages to cover. Another wrote, the clarity and simplicity of your descriptions blew the license manual away. My study guides are available in paperback, in a variety of ebook formats, and even as audiobooks. Get your copy today. Go to kb6nu.com/ETHR for more info. Thanks.
Okay, so next up, we are going to talk about the Hamvention. Now, if you remember in last episode, we talked about the Hamvention. We talked, about how we talked first off about how Hair Arena has just gone to trash, and it's so unfortunate that happened. But anyways, one of the other things that I said, and I believe I said it in the podcast, I might have read a blog post article about it, I'm not sure. But anyways, one of the things that I believe we talked about in last episode was the upcoming changes to the new campground, the Greene County Campground, and that it was announced that a new building was being built, and a current building that had a retail furniture store in it was going to be available for this year's Hamvention. Well, unfortunately, despite all, this is a actual news release from the Hamvention leadership, and it reads, despite our best efforts, the intentions by Greene County, the Greene County Agricultural Society, and Hamvention, we learned that the anticipated new building will not be constructed in time for the Hamvention 2018. The prefab section bid on and agriculturally required are currently backlogged. We expect construction to be delayed until after our show and the Greene County Fair. We expect completion and construction yet this year, and will be ready for our use in 2019. So unfortunately, that building is not going to be available. Which, in all honesty, guys, looking back, that was like I want to say it was like the end of December when they announced that this building was going to be built. I grew up in construction. My dad's been doing it for like 45 years or so. And I helped him from, the time that I was old enough to swing a hammer or go and get a saw or something like that. So, I grew up in this. I did it for a very long time. And, during the summer in high school, I helped him for 10 years or so after, whenever I could, and still do to this day. And for them to tell me that they're going to be building a, like a, 20,000 square foot building, even if it's prefabbed beforehand, in 4 months, it is honestly hard to believe. I mean, yeah, I guess it's possible if the sections are already there and already built, and all I got to do is slap them together. But, that's just the shell. That's just the outside shell. There's nothing on the inside about how it's going to be. You know, there's offices and restrooms and stuff like that. You know, if you're talking about just like a pavilion with walls, then yeah, okay, I can see that being built in a month or two. With the pouring of the concrete and stuff like that. But from my understanding, the buildings that they were going to be building it was going to be like a huge, like 30,000 plus square feet building in a U shape, and there was going to be offices and bathrooms and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I honestly, I just don't see that being built in 4 months. You know, I just don't think it's going to happen. Just don't think it would have happened. Well, now we know that it's not going to happen. The good thing is, though, that there will be increased inside exhibit space with the addition of the vacated furniture building. Now, if y'all don't know what this is, there's a furniture building which I believe was called the Fairgrounds Furniture that had been there for like 30 or 40 years or something like that, and it was open year round, and it was part of the county fairgrounds property, and they were leasing the building. Well, I guess after Hamvention was there last year, the fairgrounds committee, council, whatever, board of directors, whatever, decided not to renew the contract of this furniture place, and they're required to be moved out by April. It's sad, really, honestly. And I don't know the whole story, and maybe somebody else does, but I don't. It's sad that you're going to move a building or move a company that has been there for like 30 years, I think I read somewhere, out in 3 or 4 months' time, and expect them not to close it down, or really be financially struggled. But again, it is government, and that really doesn't matter all the time. But anyways, so there will be that spot, and there will be additional inside areas in that building. The flea market will not be losing any space. They'll actually be gaining new space. After consulting with professionals, we are in the process of solving the mud issue in the flea market area. I know those of y'all that went last year have told some grueling stories about the mud, and the Ham Radio 360 guys know that firsthand, since I believe their booth was actually just totally inundated with mud. So anyways, they said that hopefully they have that fixed, or will have it fixed, and they're anticipating work to start as soon as the weather allows. So hopefully here pretty soon, and they're expecting it to be done by the time that Hamvention comes around. They're also rearranging the soccer field parking to eliminate use of the low areas where they had problems last year. They have also revised the exit plan. There will be additional off-site parking that will be available, along with easy-to-use maps to help navigate, and transportation from parking areas to the show will still be at no cost. There was some traffic issues last year that were solved by mid-morning on Friday, and they don't expect any other issues for this year. The Talk-In has all new equipment, and we'll be using a taller tower this year to allow them to reach further and help you navigate to the show. Be sure to use the service, and don't forget the bulletin frequencies for more help. There are many new ideas we are working on to make your stay with us more enjoyable. Keep watching our website, hamvention.org, for updates, and it comes from from Ron Kramer, the Hamvention General Chair, Jack Gerbs, Hamvention Assistant General Chair, and Michael Coulter, the Hamvention CFO and spokesperson. So, hopefully this year will be better, and there won't be as many issues. I'm sure next year in 2019 will be even better because they'll have that new building, more space inside, and then there'll be room for all that. And from my understanding, there's a link in the show notes for this as well. There's an article that was written in the local newspaper saying that they've actually created a position in the county to help advertise and bring more stuff into this fairgrounds, because they're wanting it to, this to be a more often thing with not just with Hamvention, but with other things as well. But they're also hoping that Hamvention will stay there, for a long-term thing. They have a 3-year contract now, so this year and next year will be the last year that the contract is for. But neither the Hamvention people or Greene County is expecting anything to change, and they're working hard to make it a permanent thing and go for 75 years like it was at Hera. And hopefully it'll end up in better condition than Hera did as well. So anyways, on to the next topic. Okay, so as I'm sure that y'all know, if y'all been listening for a while now, I've been trying to start a business, and one of the business that I'm starting is a sign production business, and it's going fairly well. And my wife and I have decided to try and make a go of this. And it is, we're calling it 2XC Products, and 2XC Products is going after our brand, I guess you could say. Our brand is 2XC, which means second chance. But anyways, I'm making signs for people, and I've made quite a few. I've made quite a few ham radio ones, and I've made quite a few other ones, and made a whole bunch of gifts this Christmas for people. But anyways, with Valentine's right around the corner, now is a perfect time for you to find or to order a gift for your significant other. I've made a couple mock-ups that you can find on our website with you and your spouse's name and a little heart or something like that, and a couple other things. So check out my website. It is on a soft launch right now. It's not completely done. It's still being stuff is still being added to it and stuff like that, but you can find it at 2xcproducts.com. That's 2xcproducts.com. And if you find one there that you like and you want to order it, you can just simply order it. If you want something different, send me an email at sales@2xcproducts.com, and tell me what you're looking for, and we will work with you. I actually just made one for John Jacobs, W7DBO over at the Field Radio Podcast, and he's going to be making a video for it that he's going to be putting up on his channel. So whenever that goes live, I will make sure and share it on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll put a link in this episode as well. So stick around for that, check it out, see what you like, see what you think about it, check out the website, and order something. Perfect Valentine's gift, like I said, gentlemen. Okay, so let's get back to the podcast. Alright, so last thing I want to talk about, in the last episode of 2017, I told you all about some plans that I'm wanting to do for this year, for 2018, and I asked you what yours was. And I meant to say this in last episode, and then I meant to say it in the first episode of 2017, then I wanted to say it in the last episode, and I didn't do it. But anyway, so I thought I would do it this episode, and I didn't get a whole lot of responses from anybody, and unfortunately I didn't get any audio ones, which I really wanted to do, so I could put y'all on this episode, actually saying what your plans are. But anyways, I'll read some of them that I got. One of them was from my semi-regular co-host, Ian. He says the show length, which is one of the questions that I had. He said definitely keep it to an hour or less. And if we end up going over an hour, like we do sometime with him, split it up maybe and do multiple episodes. Definitely he wants to keep the format the same, doing a interview style podcast, or at least one where there's me and somebody else, me and him or something like that as a co-host, because it seems to get more interesting for the listener, and the back and forth keeps the show moving, and doesn't feel like it gets bogged down, which probably, with me, I go off on tangents and stuff like that. So I'm sure that that it does go that way sometimes, and you're probably like, what in the world is he talking about? Just like I'm doing right now. He also says, just my 2 cents worth since you asked for feedback. As far as what I'm doing for 2018, I plan on putting up a Whisper beacon together out of a Raspberry Pi that I've had sitting around for a couple of years. And I start the CW Academy in January, so he's probably already started it. I haven't heard how he is going with it. He said, I sort of learned CW several years ago, but not very well, and I don't enjoy operating it much, although I have my triple play and CW endorsed worked all states. Congratulations, Ian. I totally get it with that. I sort of learned CW too. I actually got my general at 13 words a minute. So before they were taking off the 13 words a minute, I somehow managed to do it. But I haven't touched CW very much since then. I do a little app on my phone and a little game thing trying to get it better, but I don't do it very much. Anyways, he says, I'm hoping as we really get to solar minimum that I can learn it well enough this time to enjoy it and work some parts of the world that I haven't been able to on sideband. The next email that I got was from Jeffrey, Kilo Charlie 8, Quebec Charlie Hotel. He says, hello Curtis, hope things are well with you and a Merry Christmas to you and yours. I just got done with episode 94 and heard you're looking for some feedback. He says, show length, even though like you, I have a 30 to 40 minute commute, I personally enjoyed the longer shows like an hour or so. On some of the ones that do keep it to half an hour, it feels like things are rushed and they never really get in depth on the topic. Most of it trends to get eaten up by sponsor spots and other things, so I tend to like longer episodes. Yes, it can take a few days to get through all my podcasts, but at least I can listen at work sometimes too. He also gives me some topic ideas, a show about Echolink, voice over IP radio and IP in general, All-Star, D-Star, DMR, etc., which Jeffrey, I did do some of those. I actually did all of those, actually. D-Star was like the first episode I did, I think. I've done an All-Star one several episodes ago. I did an Echolink one as well. Anyways, he says, I have been playing around with the radio over IP and have had so much fun with it. I would be happy to share what I know with you if you'd like. He also says the joys of using Linux in the ham Radio Shack computers. With Windows becoming more and more expensive and harder to get, Linux is a great alternative for free, cheap, and helps to breathe life into older hardware that is still perfect for ham radio use. Again, I would be happy to share my knowledge with you. I believe I actually did a Linux, maybe not a Linux one. I think I did a small computers in the ham shack. But I will, definitely think about doing a Linux thing. And Jeffrey, maybe I'll get in contact with you for a future show. Last but not least, I got an email from Bill. His call sign is Kilo Mike 6 Bravo Yankee Delta. He says, I like the length and format of the show as it is now. I wouldn't shorten it. An hour or so is good. I like the guests you have had on the show, talking about subjects they know well. I'm glad you make the change a while back to drop the club news and the meeting news, which I skipped. Your show is one of the podcasts I listen to most often. I listen while getting showered, dressed, and at the gyms, and sometimes in the car. As a podcast host, I imagine, I know I do, I wonder where y'all listen to me. Where are you driving down the road? Are you walking the dog? Or, as Bill just said, getting showered and dressed? Or am I with you in the shower, so to speak? But anyways, I'm humbled. Honestly, I never thought that this podcast would be as I don't really say don't really think of it as big, but it is a pretty good size. I mean, I get decent listener amounts from what I can tell, and I average like 2,000 downloads or so an episode. And I hear other podcasts that I listen to where they, where it seems like they're such a big podcast and they get less downloads than I do. And they say, 300-400 downloads is a decent podcast number. And I think of 300 people as being a little bit. But as another one of them says, he says, when you're looking at your download numbers and your listener numbers, think of each download as a person, which I do. I know that each one of y'all that are listening, each download I see, are a actual person listening. And he says to imagine that I am in a building, in a stadium or a room or something like that, and there are X amount of people there that are listening to what I'm saying. So when you put it really in that perspective, I would have to have a pretty big sized room to have, the 1,500, 2,000 downloads that I get as actual people to fill up the room. So again, it makes you humbled that y'all, as my listeners, would take that time out of your day to listen to me ramble on or talk about something or talk to somebody about something. I've really enjoyed that, and I'm pretty sure that I will be keeping the show not just a solo head like it started out. I do enjoy doing the interviews, and when I can't find the interviews, then I'll have Ian on, and we'll talk about something, or maybe sometimes we'll have Ian on and a guest host. I'm working on, hopefully here pretty soon I'll have a better internet instead of just my phone, and I'll be able to do something like that. And be able to support it, because with my phone I just can't support more than just two people. I tried that when I had George and Jeremy from the Ham Radio Workbench show on, and it didn't work out very well for me. I mean, George actually had to host the conversation, but I did find a way that I could possibly do that, so maybe I will, and I'll try it with the next episode. So, but anyways, that pretty much wraps it up. I definitely want to thank my sponsors, West Mountain Radio, and Dan Romanchik, KB6NU with the No Nonsense Study Guides, for your continued support. And also, my business is going on as a sponsor to XC Products. So check each of those websites out. The West Mountain Radio, it's everythinghamradio.com/WMR. That will take you to the landing page at West Mountain Radio. They'll show you everything that I've talked about, as long as they've been a sponsor, as well as get you the listener-only option of the free USB port monitor. With Dan, it's kb6nu.com/ETHR. That's basically everything ham radio. And of course, the 2XE products, my custom sign / other products website is 2xeproducts.com. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for your continued support, for listening to this show, and for sharing it with your friends, for signing up to my email list. My email list update that came to me a little earlier today. I got 2 new listeners, or 2 more subscribers rather, and I'm almost at the 400 subscriber mark, and that's just absolutely awesome. It's hard to believe. I started the list maybe. I think I started when I started the blog shortly thereafter, but it's really taken off here in the past year or so. So it really humbles me that there's that many people that listen and that support, subscribe to my email list. If you want to subscribe, there is a link in the bottom of the show notes that a little form you can fill out and subscribe to it, or you can simply go to everythinghamradio.com/subscribe. Fill that out, click on the sign me up button, and you'll get an email from me with a link that you'll have to click on in order to start receiving emails. Up until this year, at the start of this year, I changed the way that I do my emails. I used to do it where anything that I would post on my website would automatically get an email sent out that day saying, hey, there's a new post. and I decided that maybe I didn't want to spam y'all's inbox so much, and I'm just doing a weekly review email, and that will come out on Saturday mornings, and that'll have every post that I post, whether it is a podcast episode, a blog post, or general news that I post as well. So also, if you want to support me more than just listening to it, and I'm not even gonna say that. I'm really not. Y'all have been so great supporting me in so much that I'm not gonna say it anymore. So thank y'all for y'all's support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for sharing. Again, you can find the show notes of today's episode at everythinghamradio.com/podcast/96. So I guess that will wrap it up for me in this episode. Hopefully next week I will have somebody else to talk to other than just myself. And I will be recording this at 1 a.m. in the morning. Here it is 1:46. And I should be going to bed here pretty soon. But I still have an hour's worth of work. Anyways, until next time, this is K5CLM signing out. 73 y'all.